Hey guys, and welcome again with a new video. Okay, we are in lesson 4 of the JavaCSS, and we're gonna learn something more about the JavaCSS, and we're gonna use a lot of JavaCSS for this lesson. Hope you're ready for it, guys. So as you can see, we have a 2 card, and let me just refresh the website. You can see it. The first is animation beginning as a simple website, and then if a user want to click this to see the information of this card, you can see this background of the square, it become a circle right here, and we have a back option if a user want to back to the same card as you can see it. And for this we're gonna use the same animation of the JavaCSS, just like the first card as you can see it, guys. And in the previous lesson we learn something JavaCSS of the creating a line, as you can see it, with a more line of 9 line, and then you can see the image and the text come up, and we have a back option using a transition for the JavaCSS of the back option. Hope you learned something about this, and the most important thing and the most hardest work about this, using a transition in a JavaCSS, and hope you learn it about that, guys. So now in lesson 4 we're gonna use a JavaCSS a simple way, and instead of using a hard way or using a transition for the JavaCSS. So if you guys ready for this lesson, let's do it and learn more about JavaCSS. Okay, I add a style sheet of the style of CSS and a script with ion icon of the website if we need to use ion icon for this, and we add some style of the font of a logo h1 and the h1 the font size with a color and the p. We add a custom font size to be ready for this page. But now let me just create HTML, then we go for the CSS to complete it, and then we go for the JavaCSS. We're gonna create a hero page, and I'm gonna add a header for a logo. Okay, this is our logo. Now first I'm gonna add a text to tell a user click on image to see the detail. So here I'm gonna add here after a header, I'm gonna name it a center text, which is I want to be a center to user see it. And I'm gonna add a click on image to see details. Okay, so this is a description for a user to see it when user want to click on a card of the image. And now let's go to create an image with a text inside it. So first I'm gonna add a div to add a display grid for it, and I'm gonna name it a simple image bx, image grid, image bx, doesn't matter. Oh, I'm gonna name it a grid, simple. Now inside this grid I'm going to create a card. So first I'm going to create an inner as a starter. Now inside the inner, this is a first card, I'm gonna add a square 1 and a square 2. If you see in the first video we have a 2, we have a 2 of these squares, you can see it right here, this one and this, we have 2 square, and I'm gonna add it for this square 1 and square 2. And now I'm gonna add a text and with a image. So for the text I'm gonna name it simple text 1. Okay, this is our text and this, and I'm gonna add p as a link to click a user click on it. And for this, let be a back option to when a user want to go back to the same page of the card. Now I'm gonna create a div for the image. So first I'm gonna name for this div, I'm gonna name it a simple name. I'm gonna name an inner image as inner of this card. So I'm gonna here after the text 1, I'm gonna name it inner image. Okay. Now inside the inner image, so I'm gonna name it a simple scale. Okay. Now inside the skill, first, if you see in this, you can see I add this background, and this is a not before and after CSS. And if I just create a before for this as this skill before, it's not working for the JavaCSS because it's a CSS. So I'm gonna name it new div for this to create a background for this card. To using a JavaCSS to create a nice animation for this to become circle. Just don't use a before and after if you want to use a JavaCSS, because before and after can't use for the JavaCSS, guys. So I'm gonna name it a background as a simple name, and now let me add the image. Okay, this is a first image. Now let me create another inner as a card 2. So let me just copy this inner and paste it here, card 2. This is a next inner, which is a card 2. Now I'm just change this square to be a 3 4 because I want to change a position of this square to be here for this 3 4. Now I'm gonna change the text. Let me just do it quick with this text 2. And for this background, let be a background 2 because I'm gonna change the position, and for this background to be okay. Now we just finish off our HTML, guys. Let's go for the CSS to explain what we're gonna need it for this. Add the width 100%, height 100 ph, position relative, and let me add overflow hidden. Oh, first let me just change the background of this body. So for this body, let the background, okay, let the background be this color, guys. And for this background, okay, very good. Let me just add a header for our logo, and then we go for the grid. Okay, let me add a display flex, justify content center, align item center, padding 35 pixel and 8%. Okay, this is our logo. Now let me just add a center text. Let me just add it here, center text. I'm gonna add text align center and position relative with a transform translate y minus 50 pixel. Here we go. This is our text. Now let me just start with a grid that we have here. I'm gonna add a display grid. Okay, let me add it here, grid, display grid, and grid. Repeat, align item center. Let me add a grid row gap 20 pixel for this, and a margin bottom 30 pixel. Let me add a padding for this grid as here to become just push together, become something better. And I'm gonna add a 150 pixel. Okay, as you can see it, yeah, now it's better. Let me first start with the inner of this main div for this card. So inner, I'm gonna add it here. I'm gonna add a width 100%. Okay, z index 1, height 400 pixel, top minus. Let me just style of this image. I think this is bad. Inner image width 100%. Alright, 100%. Now inner image to a style of this image that we have here. Inner image. Okay, for this, let the width 350 pixel. Okay, for the radius 10 pixel. Position absolute to become center. Top 50%, left 50%. Transform translate minus 50% and minus 50%. Here we go. Yeah, let me just change the color of this background of this image. I'm sorry, let me just change the color of this image to become like this color of the background. So I'm gonna use a filter. You know what, let me just add it here to see what the color for this. I'm gonna use it, filter here, rotate. Okay, let me see what color that we needed for this. I think this is, yeah, I think this is good for this color. Let me just copy this. Yeah, I think this is good. If you don't like it, you can just change the color of the hue rotate. But yeah, now I add this color for this with a hue rotate. First, let me just create a square. Then we go for this at the position absolute for this text to become like this, be a center. Okay, so let me just add it. And if you don't like using this display grid, you can just remove it as a sample. Let me just show you. If you don't like it, just remove it. And it's gonna be the same if you don't use a display grid. But yeah, now let me just first create a square for this. So I'm gonna add a square 1 and a square 3. Okay, width, okay, height 25 pixels. Here we go. Let me just add a position absolute for this and the top and the left. And I think we need a transform. Okay, let me just add it here. Okay, for this, a top minus 70%, and the left be this for, let's be 49% for this. And now for this background, and now for this transform, let me just add a rotate 45 degree. Okay. Now let me just add a background with box shadow. So first let me just add a background that the color be this. Okay, yeah. And now let me just add a box shadow 0 pixel 0 pixel 5 pixel RGB. Now for this border radius, let me just add a 10%. Yeah, now it's better, and we fix this. Yeah, now let me just add a content. I just forget about that. And the index -1 transition. I'm gonna add a transition for this as a transition. Let me just add a 1 second, and I'm gonna use a cubic bezier because I think a cubic bezier it's better from a linear. So I'm gonna use my best cubic bezier for this tutorial. For this last one, okay, let me okay, and 0.3 seconds. Here we go. Let me add it in the inner of our. Okay, now let me just add, let me this 0.4 second with a 1 second of this. There we go. Now let me just copy this and paste it for this square 2 and square 3. To add a position different square 2 and square 4. Okay, width be the same, background be the same, no need to change it, but the position of this I'm gonna add a bottom instead of the top. So bottom I'm gonna add -30%. Let me see. Yes, now it's better, guys. Here we go. And now let's go to create this text to become a center. So first let me just add the text 1, and then we go for the text 2. So first text 1, I'm gonna add position absolute. Let me just copy this. Position absolute, top 50%, left 45%. Okay, transparency be the same, no need to change it. And let me add a transition, a simple transition for this. Is out instead of the cubic bezier for this text. Now here we go. As you can see, it's now in the center of this image, guys. Okay, let me just add the text to. I'm just text 2. Yeah, let me just style of this p-link, and let me just style it as a link. So I'm gonna name it, I'm gonna call it here with nth child 1, child 3, I'm sorry, with nth child 3, text 2, text 1. Here we go. First let me just add a padding for this 7 pixel for the top and bottom, and 25 pixel left and right. Let me add a border radius 30 pixel, and now let me just add a background transparent. You know what, let me just copy this for this box shadow. Okay, here, and paste it here. Let me just add again instead of this color. Okay, and let's be a 4 pixel. Yep, now for this, let me just add a cursor pointer to user see it as a clicker. Okay, and let me add a width max content. Okay, and the margin top, to add a margin for this, 10 pixel. There we go. Now it's better, guys. If you want, and you can add a more of this margin button. If you don't like this, it's up to you. So yeah, let's be 20 pixel instead of 10 pixel. Now let's go to create a background for this, and let me just add here opacity. We don't like this, let the opacity 0. Okay, now let me just add a background for this image. Okay, so background, and the background 2, I think I named it a background 2. Let me just see it. The background 1, yes, and the background 2. Okay, let me just add it to background 1, background 1. Okay, okay, let me just add the position absolute with the color and the background. So let me just copy this instead of add. Okay, let me just copy this, paste it here, add it here, content. Okay, position absolute, left be a 50%, be a same, top be a 50% again. Now for this box shadow, I'm gonna change it, guys, to become a better, and color be a better for this box shadow. I'm gonna remove this rotate, we don't need it. And for the width and the height, just let me add the width and the height be a 100%. Okay, now for this box shadow, let me just copy this again. Oh, you know what, let me just copy this and paste it here for this box shadow. And let me just change color of the background to become a better. Let me add a border radius 20 pixel instead of 10%, 20 pixel. Okay, and the transition, let me a same of this, no need to change it. Let's see it. There we go. This is our background, and this is our card of the background. Let me see what we need else. So I create a new div for this scale. Okay, now why I add this scale, let me just explain. So instead of adding a hover for this image or for this text, if you're not working by adding a z-index, so I'm gonna add a scale just like I added here in HTML to add the same width and the same height, and then we're gonna go to create a hover for this. Okay, let me just add the height 100%. Let me add a position absolute, top 50%, left 50% to be a center, just like this background. And no need to add a background because we needed to create a hover for this. And now let me just add a scale hover as we wanted. And let me add a transform, translate, minus 50%, minus 50%. Then we add a scale to become bigger of this card. Now let's see it, and let me just add opacity 0. Okay, now we have a scale, as you can see it. We created this hover. Now before to go to the JavaCSS, I'm gonna first add animation. When a user comes to this page, first this card come from the top and become this center. And for this square of these two squares, you can see it. So for this animation, so first I'm gonna start with a square. For this square, I'm gonna add animation, and this cubic bezier instead of a linear. Okay, now for this keyframes, oh, I'm sorry, it's, let me here a square 1, a square 3. I'm sorry, guys, for this, because we're gonna add a top instead of bottom. Okay, now let me add a 0% and 100%. Very simple animation for this. So 0%, what we needed a top, I'm gonna add a top minus 200%. I'm gonna add the top 200% to go to the top, and then 100%, let me 20% to become here in the center of this. So let me just add it to see what's happened. Top minus 200%, and now as you can see it's come from the top. There we go. Now for this square 2, let me just copy this, paste it for this adding a bottom, and we're gonna add it here, this button, to 100%. Now for this, just like the same, we're gonna add this minus 200% to become coming from the bottom to here. Okay, let me add name it bottom. I'm sorry. And for this bottom, okay. Now let's see it. Yeah, now it's better. And now let me just add animation for this inner of the card. So I name it inner. Let me just add it here. Animation start. I name it start 1 second. Cubic basic. Let me just copy this and paste it. Okay. Now let me just copy this, paste it. So we have this top, as you can see, of this top 0% or 0, doesn't matter. This is the start one, and I'm gonna add a top minus 200% or minus, yes, 200%, doesn't matter. And you can see. But here is a problem, guys. As you can see, this is a bad problem of the bottom, because it's this inner, it's up, it's the top, but this is a bottom of the minus 200%. This is why this problem happen. If you see it here, so how gonna fix it? Very simple. You just added this opacity 0. Okay, and I'm gonna add opacity 1 here to fix this problem. And now just see it. There we go. We fix this problem. And let me just add animation delay to get a nice animation for this. So I'm gonna add animation delay for this card of the inner. I'm gonna add animation delay to start the animation after 1 second here. Okay, and for this square 1, square 2, I'm gonna add, let me 1.5 second. After 1.5 second, the animation started. Okay, and let me add it here. Okay, there we go. I think we have a problem. Yeah, I think we have a problem. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, guys. Let me add a bottom of minus 200% of this. And for this top, let me add the top here. Replace it. Okay, the top be this. And as you can see, okay, now for this and for this card, let me a minus. Here we go. Now let's see it. Very beautiful. This is our animation, guys, and this is our hover. I hope you learned of this using a top and a left for this animation. Now let's go for the JavaCSS. Okay, first, before we go for the JavaCSS, I'm gonna need to add an ID as a name for this. So I'm gonna add here first with the ID text1, and for this text2, and I'm gonna not adding an ID for this square. I'm gonna use a query selector instead of a document get elementary by ID. So let's be this instead of that. Don't use anything, and let me just add a more. Let me just add it here for this background. I'm gonna add a background bg2 as a background 2, and for this, where is it? Background 1 bg1. Background 1. There we go. Now next, I'm gonna add for oh yes, let me just add an ID for this inner, because I want to add something different for this JavaCSS. inner 1, okay, and for this inner 2 of the card 2 of ID. And just like I said, if you don't like using ID, you can use a query selector instead of using ID, and it's gonna working for the JavaCSS. It doesn't matter. Okay, let me add a onClick for this as a back option. onClick back option. Let me just copy this, paste it for here. So I'm gonna add onClick inside of this scale. So onClick and add it here. I'm gonna add a start 1. You know what, let me just add the back 1 and the back 2, because this is a different style of this card 1 and the card 2. And for this, onClick start 1 and start 2 for this scale. Okay, and no need to add ID for this scale. I'm gonna add a query selector, using a query selector to select this class name. Okay, so, and I think we don't need anything to add it. Yeah, this is everything for this. Yeah, I think this is everything for this ID. Now let me just name it very fast. First, let me just add the text 1 document get elementary by ID text 1, copy paste it, text 2. Okay, and now for the background, paste it here, background 1, or yeah, background 1, background 2, which is this card, as you can see it, background 2. We're gonna using a JavaCSS to become a circle. Okay, bg1, bg2 of the background. There we go. Now I'm gonna use a query selector for this square 1, square 2, and square 3, square 4. For the square, let me just add it here. Square 1, square 1, document query selector. I'm gonna add it here. Square 1. Okay, for the square 2. Okay, let me just copy this, paste it, square 3, 4. Okay, 2, 3, 4 for this. And let me just add the query selector of this scale. So I'm gonna add, oh, you know what, we use the same name of this scale. So let me just, where is this scale? Let me just add the scale 1 and the scale 2. Scale 2. And for this, scale 1 and scale 2. Scale 1 and scale 2. And now, just like I said, we're gonna add it here, scale 1, scale 1, scale 2. Scale 1, scale 2. Okay. And I just forgot about the inner. Let me just add it, and I think I add the ID for this inner. Okay, inner 1, inner 2. Okay, I think we added too much of this JavaCSS. I'm sorry for this, but this is our animation, so we're gonna use a lot of JavaCSS in this lesson, guys. Okay, I think this is everything we need for this, and yeah, I think this is everything we need. So let's start. First, I'm gonna add a function as a starter for this scale. When user click on this scale 1 or this, what we needed first. Let me add a function to tell you what we need. Scale 1, oh, start 1, I'm sorry, Okay, first what we need, I'm gonna need it the background be a circle and the text one be opacity 1. So let me just add it first. Text 1 style, let be opacity 1. Let me first see it. Yeah, just like you see, this is our text. And now I'm gonna move this image to become here, and this become opacity 0. So I'm gonna move it here and add something different with change this background to become a circle. So first I'm gonna add scale 1 of this, which is a first scale. I'm gonna, you know what, let me just copy this, paste it, scale 1, scale 1. So for this scale 1, I'm gonna add a left 100. I think, yes, the left I'm gonna add 150% to go in here. Okay, now I'm gonna add a transform with a translate, and we're gonna add a rotate to become a reverse of this rotate. So I'm gonna just copy this, where is it, just copy this and paste it here. Just add it to rotate y, rotate y, and for this rotate y 180 degree. So let's just see what's happened right now. Okay, you can see it's go here, just like we wanted. Now let's change the background of this to become a circle. So for this BG background of the background 1, I'm gonna add a style. Let me just copy this. Oh, you know what, let me just, okay, let me just copy this, paste it, the background 1. I'm gonna add, first let me just add a width and the height. So for this background we have this width. I'm gonna add a width 75 pixel. Okay, and the height 75 pixel, the same of the width. Okay, now let me just add a left to become here. So for this left, I'm gonna add 90% of this left, and let me just add the top. The top, let me for 15%. Okay, now the top be 50%, and yeah, and let me just add a border radius 50% to become circle. Now let's see it. Okay, so first let me just hide this to see what's happened for this circle of the background one. So let me just hide the inner two of this card 2, just like we name it here, the inner two, or you can use a scale 2, but I'm gonna add the inner two because I want to hide it. Scale, and let me just copy this, paste it, 0 inner 2. Now let's see it, what's happened right now. So the square become bigger than we go for this circle. So I think we add a wrong transition for this, guys. So let me just see the transition of the circle of the background. So for this background, so this transition is not good for this circle. As you can see, just like I said, we add the wrong transition of the cubic bezier. So I'm gonna change it right now. Let me this same. Let me just remove this. This is the problem. What's happened right now? Okay, and this PSC. Okay, yeah, I think this is good now. Let's see it again. I'm sorry again. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see it. There we go. Now it's better, guys. The problem was from the cubic bezier. We just fixed it right now, and now let me just add animation of the JavaScript for this square to become a circle. If you don't need it, you just don't need to add it, but I'm gonna add it here, just like we name it a square 1 and a square 2. I'm just copy this, paste it, square 1 and square 2. The border radius be the same, no need to change it. And let me add a transform rotate to become something different. So let me just copy this, paste it. This I'm gonna add it here. Okay, and here the rotate be a 0 degree. We add a 45 degree for this square, so we add a 0 degree to become a nice and better animation. So let's see it. Okay, and as you can see, we get this circle. We add a different transition. I'm sorry again, but let me just add a scale to become a bigger here. Scale 2.0, and for this scale 2.0. Here we go. Let's see it again, and we're gonna change the transition for this. Okay, now it's better. Oh, we don't have a back option. Okay, I'm sorry. So if you don't like of this transition, you can add this transition and this transition to see what's happening right now, just like this background. Let me just see it. I think now it's better. If you don't like this transition, and you can see, but yeah, I go with this. So I'm gonna add this transition, guys. Let's see it again, and then we go for the back option. Okay, yeah, now it's better, I think. Now for the back option, what we needed, very simple. We don't need to add something amazing or something else, just we need to add onset for this. So let me just copy this, paste it. The back option of the one of this start one, just add onset to just remove the style that we added here for this start one. Just add onset to just delete a style. Okay, here we go. Now let's see it, and you can see it's now the better. Yeah, it's better, guys. Okay, and I think this is the same. Yes. Okay, it's just a simple using onset. That means a delete of this opacity one left, and this transform we're gonna delete it with onset right here. Very simple. Now for this function start to the same style of this, just copy this, paste it, and this be a back to. Okay, for this start to the scale 2 and the text 2 instead of text 1 and the scale 1. Okay, and for this square 3 4. Okay, 3 4. Very simple for this. Yeah, 3 4, and this inner 1 to hide it. Okay, and the background 2 of this background of this daemon, background 2. Here we go. Now let's see it. Oh, it's not working. Oh yes, start 2. I'm sorry, let's see it again. I'm sorry, we need to add the left. Let me add it minus 150%. Oh, let me just minus 50%. Let me see. Okay, let's see it. Yeah, minus 50% for this, and you get this. And let me just change this circle to become here. So let me just change the position of this circle of the background 2. Okay, the background 2 at a left here, the left be a 50%, 15% of the left, and for this top be a 10% instead of 50%. Let me just see it again. Yeah, now it's better, and here now. And for this back 2, just need to add it here, square 4, square 3. Let me just remove it to add onset to delete a style that we added here for this start 2. Very simple. Now let's see it again. There we go. Beautiful. And we get this nice animation and a nice card if you like it, guys. Yeah, with a nice transition of this cubic base here. And yeah, this is everything you need to learn of this lesson 4 of the Java CSS. So we use a lot of CSS. This is everything, and I see you in the last lesson, guys. And the last lesson is lesson 5, which is creating a sign up and the sign in. Then we go for the responsive website with using a Java CSS to create a nice and better website, guys. And hope you see it in lesson 5 of the last lesson. Then hope you're ready for the responsive website, guys. So that's it, guys, and bye.